What's up, my fellow Trashinators? Welcome back to another episode of good content. And I almost forgot I had to do this episode. Not that I wasn't gonna make one or upload it, it's I forgot what I was gonna cover. Because if you can look behind me, I've gotten quite a few new action figures since I last saw you. Just cause it's honestly getting unhealthy at this point, but I'm working on it. It's not an addiction until you say it is. So yeah, I almost completely forgot that I watched, like I mentioned, I said I was gonna do this past weekend, after my last video, that I was going to go and watch FNAF in the theater. Because you can watch on Peacock the same day it started showings in theaters. So I didn't want to do that. I like going to the movies to experience the whole thing in its intended state. Because movies are meant to be seen on the big screen. And pieces of shit like over here that are playing right now just aren't big enough. So I saw it. I did. And as basically a lifelong fan of the series, even though it came out 13 years after I was born, I was. Let's get into the whole backstory of this whole thing. So, flashback to 2015. The first game had come out. It was a big smash. It was like everyone knew of it because of some certain YouTubers. That I have not been watching a lot because YouTube's being a little bitch about it. I don't know why. One day, a couple months ago, I just realized, I'm just not getting recommended Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, and I have no idea why. I did not say I did not. I did not recommend them. I didn't click that. I don't think so. I definitely shouldn't. I definitely didn't. So I just don't know why they won't show up on my homepage. So I have to go and look for them, which sucks. Because they're very much like, they're my go-tos. Let me just go click on a video on my homepage and just sit back and watch. But nope. They're just gone from my homepage, and I don't know why. I keep trying to lead the homepage and be like, alright, suggest them. I keep being insidious about it, clicking on memes and whatever and have you. I'm searching them constantly in my search bar. But that's a whole thing. I'll probably make a separate video about it because I really want to figure it out, and I want them to get back on my homepage. So yeah, those two, Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, they're the two main reasons that FNAF became such a big craze. Because back then, they were big, not as big as they are right now, because if you don't know, Markiplier's making a fucking Iron Lung movie, which, again, I didn't see the announcement originally. It took me a week to figure that out, because, again, they're not on my homepage. So I have no idea what's going on if they're not immediately on my YouTube. So, but because of that, because of their size back then, and the general algorithm of YouTube back then, where video game content was being pushed to the masses in large amounts. Not like now. Now it's rich YouTubers giving away their money for basically fuck all. So yeah. That's the main reason FNAF went so big. A scary sort of children concept horror game that was made by a guy who had a seemingly rough past that made him want to make this as a sort of revenge story that ultimately worked, and now he's a multi-millionaire, I think. But we won't talk about the creator, dickhead. You know what you did. I won't talk about him specifically. I won't even mention his name. But you all know who he is. So, the creator seemingly having an uplifting story about creative whatever the fuck, and being ultimately successful, but due to some self-anger, due to criticism that seemingly, well, kind of true, wasn't needed. It was an indie creator just making games for himself. It just worked out. So that's the main reason FNAF's so big. Yeah. Of course, we're talking about the movie. So, like, it seemed like, to me at least, it was like a few months after the game really got big, they were like, hey, movie? 10 years later, and boom, we have it. It's out. I watched it, and we're going to talk about it now. So, that's basically how it went down. Basically, 10 years of nothing. It was being produced, but there was silence. Nothing. Nada. Except for the occasional, it's still going on. Wait. And then boom, trailer. Out of nowhere, like a year ago. It's like, hey, coming out next year. Get ready. And then, it's out now. And let's just get right into the story. In which, like I thought, because again, like the last movie I saw, which was Across the Spider-Verse, I know that was like, it felt like a year ago, but it's only been a couple months. I thought I was going to be late. I didn't schedule my Uber as early as I thought I would need. It felt like forever trying to get there, but once I got there, I paid my ticket, I got my snacks, which, by the way, a little note for me, I tried to like go for the 80s arcade go-to meal, which is just sugary chocolate candy and a slushie, that's what I got. I tend to always get popcorn, which I don't need. Like, it's more of like a food patter, because that's what that is in the theater. If you want food to pad out your like your snackiness, your snackishness, get popcorn. That's why it's there. It's very fluffy, filling carbohydrates. That's the main reason it's there, and that's what I usually do. But ultimately, it's just an extra expense that I just don't need. So that's also one of the reasons I went with this. Just one box of candy and a slushie. Boom, I was good. And so let's just get to the story. I wasn't late. I made it in time. I literally got into my seat right as the ads ended. Like, as soon as I sat down, the lights turned off and boom, it starts. And like I thought, because I thought it was like the same thing like last time where, oh, I arrived super late, but thankfully there's a cold open I can watch later. I still have not watched Across the Spider-Verse since the last time I saw it, which was the first time, even though I have the Blu-ray right here. Is it open actually? It is open, so hell, I might even watch it after this. I've said that before, and I probably will not do it. So the cold open is just we see the perspective of the last security guard before Mike. Oh, spoilers! Go watch it. It's basically a masterpiece for what it went through, which is a whole different story that I don't really want to get into, but I'm sure I'll talk about it. So spoilers, go watch it. It's in theaters right now or on Peacock, but you have to get a premium subscription for Peacock to watch it. The same thing happened with Halloween Ends. Fuck off. Just make it like rentable, like Puss in Boots. That's what I did. No, what movie? I don't remember what. I watched a movie that just came out and I rented it. I can't remember. Whatever. So we see the last security guard before Mike, and he's scared shitless. He tries to run away, but he ultimately gets kidnapped by Foxy. By the way, I didn't realize this, but apparently Foxy's my favorite animatronic. After 10 years, I finally realized that. I like Foxy. I don't have any merch to show for it, it's strange. You think as someone who's No, I have some merch. I don't know where it went, but it was like little figurines. Besides that, I just never got merch. I don't know why. I watched everything. I know about all the lore. Maybe not from the top of my head, but I definitely know of the lore. So yeah. I like Foxy. So the security guard gets kidnapped and his face gets torn off by an animatronic. There's no elaboration. It's just an animatronic that is being placed on his face with its saws. We all saw it in the trailer. Mike is going to get put in that later. Speaking of, we get to him. What is... Okay, I kind of forgot what happens in the beginning because this is kind of a roller coaster of a movie. That, and because I went in completely spoiler free. As free as you can get besides the trailers. So I didn't know what was going to go on. So I was hesitant. I watched carefully. And as soon as I got home, I kind of forgot about a little bit. Excuse me. So yeah. I think we open up with Mike at his current job. Or in the span of the movie. He's at his current job. He's a security guard at a mall. I think he's getting ice cream at this... No. He's talking with his boss, I think, about a book about dreams are like real, but you have to sort of make them real in order to interact with them. Something of the sort. That leads into a plot point later. So after talking with his boss, he goes get some ice cream, but he has his eye on this kid who's like standing there alone in the middle of like the main mall. And he sees a grown man come over, grab the child very forcefully, and walks off. Mike, having PTSD to a prior event, which we will talk about, he goes over, tackles the dad into a fountain and beats the living shit out of him in front of the kid. And we figure out the man was the kid's dad. He was just pissed because his kid was running off somewhere in the middle of a mall. Sort of irresponsible dad, but he got the kid. The kid was safe. But due to Mike's personal trauma, he messed up. The security guard actually became the insecurity perpetrator. Is that funny wordplay? I don't know. I just bit my tongue. That's why it didn't come out so smooth. So yeah. So ultimately, Mike gets fired, and he goes back home to his younger sister, Abby, and his friend who babysat her. She's gonna be the babysitter's gonna be important. Like everyone's gonna be important. It's a very compacted movie. Besides Mike's old boss, all the characters matter in some way. Like they're very purposely put in there just for an important story beat. So everyone's gonna come back later. Besides Mike's boss, old boss. So Mike comes home, says hi to his little sister to make sure she's all right. It's the next morning now. He has a meeting with a job counselor. He goes, he meets with the job counselor, and it's a certain actor you may recognize. So the job counselor tells him, all right, you fucked up. I don't know what to do for you. So let me just get up your file. Mike Schmidt. They don't actually say his last name, but you can tell by the way he said it. So he's like, all right. I have a gig. Here's my card. I know you said you don't do nights. Come back later if you have a change of heart. So Mike goes where we have the start of a story beat where Mike's aunt wants to take custody of Abby. Mike has that custody, but it'll pretty easily slip once the aunt takes him to court, because that's what she wants to do in case Mike doesn't immediately give her away. And the only reason she wants to do that is for the checks that help support Mike and Abby in order to make sure she has a nice life with him. So that's sort of like the main conflict throughout the movie, up until we figure out what's going on with the gig that the counselor wanted to give Mike, because he doesn't have a job right now. He wants to make sure Abby stays with him in order to keep her safe from the aunt. So he calls up the counselor and he's like, all right, I had a change of heart. Tell me what's going on. So he's like, all right, there's this old place. It's run down and abandoned, but the owner is still sentimental. So he wants to keep the thing safe. And he needs a security guard because the new one left for personal reasons. And the place is... it's the arcade. It's Freddy Fazbear's. So it's Mike's first night, and he's like, all right, let me check everything, make sure it's all right. Oh, the animatronics are still here? That's weird, and they're really clean. I know that was like a complaint when the trailer first out. They're like, oh, the animatronics they're pretty clean for having been abandoned, but due to a plot point later, we see that's fucking stupid. Wait for the movie, dickhead. I swear to God, most of the controversy around movies these days are because people don't have the context of the film themselves. Because it's like a year until the thing comes out and people are like, oh, what about this? What about this? Wait for the movie. You're a bunch of pricks. Be patient. God, people are stupid. I feel like I'm the only sane person alive, which I'm sure a lot of people can have the same sentiment towards. I know I'm not the exception to any of this. I'm just... wait. You'll get an answer. Wait. That's all you need to do. You want to know my one complaint of humanity? Be patient. It's not my one complaint, but like in this aspect, be patient. You'll get your answer. And if there is none, then you can complain. There are times where you can and cannot complain based on context within that aspect, within that area. All right? I feel like that's just like a general fact within life, is that there are things you can and cannot do. You just have to wait and see if you can and cannot do those things. Am I crazy? Yes, but not in this way. Idiots. You're all idiots. Not you guys. Not those of you who have subscribed. Do that. So yeah. So it's his first night. He checks on everything and makes sure everything's okay. Just realized the camera was way too far down. So yeah. Far up. So yeah. But he makes sure everything okay, and he stays asleep he stays awake as long as possible, but he still ends up asleep. Cause remember the dream book earlier? In his dreams, he tries to relive a memory of when his younger brother got kidnapped while they were out camping. He tries to relive that and figure out what they can do. But he hasn't been able to. Mike is old as shit now, and in those several years, he hasn't been able to do anything. But this time in the facility, in the location, something changes. And he's able to see these kids in the dream, in the memory, that they were never there before. But now they are. And so now he's curious and he chases after one of them. But after he falls, he wakes up. It's daytime, he leaves, he goes back home. Now I'm having some trouble. Okay, I think he goes back home and there's like something that goes on. But then he goes back. He goes back another night. And when I first noticed that, oh, it's another night. 5 Nights at Freddy's. I thought the whole structure of the film was around the 5 nights at Freddy's. Nope. There's like 4. Which, isn't really... You could have something special right there. You could have had something really special. Like having the first night really have nothing go on instead of the sort of the dream and noticing the animatronics. They could have they could have at least saved the dream for the next night. They could have gone from that, him sleeping, having him drive back home, then boom, he's back. Then he dreams. That would have been a nice structure to really make sure the 5 Nights at Freddy's is in the movie. But 10 years, I'm sure something slips. So yeah. Anyway, he goes back, but this time he dreams and he gets cut by the kid, one of the kids. So he wakes up after getting cut, and it's actually there because we see later someone's at the door. It's raining. It's raining hard, and so Mike goes checks because he's a security guard, and it's a police officer, apparently one that has her rounds around here. And we learn her name is Vanessa, which you might understand from a certain game. But she comes in, she tells Mike about what she does and what she knows of the place, which is a lot. So she patches Mike up, his cut, on this arm. And she talks to him about the place. She activates the animatronics, lets them do their thing, and then Bonnie strums his guitar and fucking blows the bracket. And then Vanessa leaves. Mike locks down the place. It's morning now. And they go back. Oh, yeah. Also, at this point, the aunt apparently hires the babysitter friend and her boyfriend to find information on Mike to see what they could do to forcefully remove Abby, but they find nothing because Mike's really a really good guardian. He tries his best and it works out. So the boyfriend recommends that, hey, at this new job, he's a security guard, so let's go fucking trash it. So when Mike leaves after talking with Vanessa the whole night, they go in. They have a bunch of guys. Well, not a bunch. It's 4 people, including the girlfriend. So it's 3. The boyfriend and 2 other guys. In which they trash the place. And they get killed. They all get killed by the animatronics. One gets killed by one gets killed by Chica. One gets killed by Bonnie. I think one gets killed by Foxy, but I can't remember. I think it's 2 by Chica and 1 by Bonnie. No, yeah. It's Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, and then the girlfriend goes in to make sure everyone's alright because she hears a scream. And then she sees a ghost kid, chases after the kid into the deepest, darkest pits of the fucking facility, and finds a Freddy just standing there in a workshop. and she hears some giggling, goes up to it, gets a chair. We all see this in the trailer. Gets on the chair, looks into the mouth, and gets fucking bit in half. We don't see that. We just, in the trailer, we see a hand reach out. No, that's not it. She gets bit in half. You think this movie is a PG-13, which it is rated, but they really wanted this to be a rated R. But due to the brand and wanting to make money, because rated R films don't really make money that good, they really did push it, which is weird because they don't say fuck. They don't say fuck in this movie. So yeah. So they're all dead. They get killed by animatronics. But Vanessa finds out what happened because, again, she patrols that area. She goes to Mike to see what happened. And she's like, hey, someone broke into Freddy's and trashed the place. Before I get a report for these, and even though I didn't explain it later, Mike uses these sleeping pills to really go deep into sleep, to really get into the dream and see what happened. So she finds the pills because they mentioned they had a conversation where they're like, hey, probably stop sleeping on the job. But he didn't, but it still got trashed. And now she's like, all right, before I file the report, tell me what happened. And Mike says, let's go for a walk. And he talks about what I said. His brother got kidnapped, and he uses his dreams to figure out what or who took him. And he has not been successful. And she's like, all right, cool. Stop taking the pills. Do your job. Everything's going to be all right. So yeah. I got a bit of brain fart here. What is going on? What happens next? What happened next? Oh, okay. I think what happens next is Abby finds the papers Mike got from the aunt to change, custody. And she's like, why do you have this? Why do you have this? And he's like, it's not what you think. And she's like, do you want to give me away? And he's like, no. And she's like, I don't like the aunt. And he's like, I don't either. That's why I want to make sure you're safe here. So, okay, so now, because the babysitter's dead, the next shift Mike works, he has no one to take care of Abby while he does his shift. So he takes her with her hesitantly. She was supposed to stay in the car, but she says no, of course, and they go. Vanessa's there no. Vanessa's not there till the next night. So they go there. Mike is doing his job. Abby's sleeping behind him in the office, and Mike falls asleep again. And the animatronics lure Abby out of like her little cubby thing into the main stage, and then she starts screaming. Mike wakes up, goes and sees that, Abby's safe, and the animatronics are sentient. And he finds out that they're ghosts possessing the animatronics. And then the next night, Vanessa's there. She's like, you really shouldn't have Abby here. He's like, all right, sure, yeah, but I don't really have anything else. I don't have anyone else to take care of her while I do my job. And Vanessa's like, all right, I'll show you around and make sure everything's safe. And Abby goes to the animatronics, wakes them up, and Mike's like, did you know about this? And Vanessa's like, yeah. And they have an argument about it for a while. This is when we have the time lapse where they're building the fort, because Abby really likes forts. They're building the fort, a big old fort in the middle of the facility. And while they go look for a tarp for a roof, Vanessa and Mike have an argument about, continue the argument about, why do you know so much? Why do you know so much? And she's like, you don't need to know. You don't need to know. Just keep her away from the place or else she'll get hurt. She doesn't say she'll get hurt. She just says, keep her away, keep her away, keep her away. And so, they finish the fort. Abby's dancing with the animatronics while they play a certain song you might have heard on TikTok. Not because the song was well known on TikTok before the movie, but because it got well known because of it. And she goes to strum the guitars on the strings on Bonnie's guitar. Again, it electrocutes her, and Vanessa's like, she's had it. All right, no more. Don't bring her back, or else I will shoot you. She says that. That freaked me out. So, because of that, and fearing for Abby's safety because of the animatronics, Mike sort of agrees to the aunt's, demands. She brings her over one night, and he tells Abby to come in, and what do you expect happens? Abby doesn't want to go, and the aunt's a bitch. And so Mike, now angry and a bit scared, he gets more pills, and he goes to the facility, the location, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and goes to sleep and tries to figure out what's going on, because that's the only way he can communicate with the animatronics, because Abby can, because she's a kid. That's sort of what the deal is. And if you know the lore, the kids are possessing the animatronics because they were stuffed in there. They were killed by a guy. We'll figure out who that is later. So he falls asleep, and he tries to figure out what's going on, what he can do to help them. And they're like, we want Abby. We'll give you anything. Well, no. We'll tell you anything for Abby. And he's like, no, I won't give you her. But now they're like, oh, do you want to go back to your family and live out a life with them in your dreams? And sadly, Mike does agree. He falls sort of under the spell of the dream of wanting to have his family back, his old family, and he says yes, and now it's too late. He may have sort of been like, all right, no, this isn't right. I regret it. I don't want my family back. But it's too late. He already said yes, and now the animatronics are after her. And guess who goes after her? Fucking Golden Freddy. I didn't think that's what his role was gonna be, but it was. So yeah. Mike goes back to try and No, he gets attacked by the animatronics, and this is when he was put in the basement, and he was about to be killed by the slice you up animatronic face. But he gets out thanks to the help of the old security guard, because he loosened the handcuffs on the chair. So he gets out deeply. Well, no, he doesn't get out. He just passes out after getting out, and looky, who saved him? It's Vanessa. She brought him to a police sort of storage unit, patches him up, and gives him a bunch of gear after telling him, I know who the guy who killed the kids are, because he's my dad. And this is one of my gripes. Of course, it could be disproven in future films because it wasn't 100% confirmed. All they have for proof is a picture of her when she was younger with the guy in the suit, in the Spring Bonnie suit. Shit. But yeah. So that's my one gripe. In the games, what lore we do know, even though there isn't a lot, it's said to be that Michael Afton, the killer, had 3 children. Michael Afton, the crying child, who in this film is called Evan. Or no, it's Garrett. It's Garrett. I keep forgetting. Because it's a stupid name, even though I had a friend back at my old school who was named Garrett, and we thought we called each other's brothers because we had the same middle name. And then you had Elizabeth, the girl who basically takes up Abby's role. As you can tell, Michael has the same sort of structure in the family. You have Mike, the younger brother, and then the youngest sister, the youngest child, the daughter. Well, no, the younger brother is the youngest, but Abby's now the youngest because timeline, whatever, fuck it. So yeah, that's my one gripe, is that in this story, as far as we know, Mike, Garrett, and Abby are not related to William. William has one kid as far as we know, and it's Vanessa, which I can see how they could retcon it and say, oh, that wasn't true. Vanessa was brainwashed by William to think she was his kid, and William actually is Mike's dad, but he left long before they could ever know him, and Mike's mom got a new boyfriend, husband, whatever, and that's who we see in the dreams and the memory. So yeah. Mike gets fucking geared up. He has a lot of electronic stuff. He has a taser and a cattle prod, because again, that's their sort of weakness, is excess electricity to short circuit their system for a momentary moment. So yeah, he goes back to the location. He takes down Freddie and Bonnie at the stage because Chica's taking back Abby into the backstage to put her in a spring lock suit, because that's what the kids want. Later we find out that the animatronics who are possessed by the ghost kids are being manipulated by William in some way. They don't specify. It's sort of like a little ghostly sort of thing. And so we know that the animatronics wouldn't do this normally. They're just kids. They just want to rest in peace and be happy, but they're being manipulated by an asshole. That's the reason they're so malicious. That's the reason they want to put Abby into a spring lock suit to make her like them. But Mike stops them. He takes out Bonnie and Freddie. He takes out Chica. He brings Abby out. He gets attacked by the cupcake. He takes the cupcake out. He goes. When he's taking out the cupcake, he tells Abby to go and hide. She does that, but Foxy goes after her and tries to find her. Mike takes care of the cupcake. He goes out, and this is when we finally meet William Afton. Not by name, but he's introduced in the story in person. So he's in the Spring Bonnie suit. So he tries to kill Mike like he did his brother. So Abby's hiding away from Foxy. Mike takes out Foxy while fighting William. Vanessa takes out Foxy, makes sure Abby's safe, and Vanessa goes to help Mike fight William. And this is when he takes off the Bonnie mask. And this is when we see the job recruiter. Of course, we all knew that's who, based on the casting list, we knew, oh, that's William pretending to be someone else in order to get more people to kill. Because that's what he was doing. He used the location as a way to lure people in so he can continue killing people without any consequences. He would take people of the lowest kind who could not keep a stable job and weren't really deemed anything by the society they were in, would kill them without any consequences. Of course, that doesn't mean he wouldn't kill any kids anymore, but I'm sure that'll be explained in later films, because there's going to be more. There's going to be more. So, yeah, that's a big in-movie reveal. We all knew about it if you knew any lore, so that's sort of what happened. And now this is when the final fight happens, which, I gotta say, surprised me. I didn't think they were gonna have a big climactic fight at the end. That's strange. You know, I know the games can be quite bombastic themselves, but not in this aspect. The main series revolves around a guy sitting in a chair and trying to survive from animatronics by closing a few doors. That's why I'm so confused. That's why I was so surprised when there was a big final fight in this horror movie for kids. I thought that was weird, but it's still cool. I love seeing I forgot his name. He plays Scooby-Doo. He plays Scooby-Doo, and he was one of the two first Ghostface in Scream. Matthew Lillard. I knew I wouldn't forget it. I love Matthew Lillard, and he kind of crushed it. Of course he did. He always brings 100%. What I did think was a bit weird, again, one of my gripes, due to in-game continuity and the movie continuity being ever so slightly different. It's slightly different. It's mainly like character choice. And one of those is William not being British. In the game, or at least for most of the games, it was later changed due to unknown reasons. But he was British. Ever since we had our first voice clip of William, he was a British man. His kids were British, even though they were all in America. The games take place in America, yet William was British. So that was a weird choice. Even Mike was British. In his one speech where Mike talks, he has a British accent. So the change of making William specifically not have an English accent is a little gripe for me. But it still works. It still works for me. I'm fine with it. I like it. It's just a little gripe, you know? It's changing slight things, you know? But that's my FNAF purist in me. If it's not in the games, I don't care. So yeah. So the big fight happens. Abby's safe. Vanessa and Mike take down William, in which they actually figure out how to change the animatronics from fighting them to fight William, because there's this big wall of like drawings of the animatronics by kids, and then the center, it's one of William holding the hands of all the dead kids. I mean, in the suit. So Abby draws something, because she's an artist, that's like her main thing in this movie. She draws a picture of William killing the kids who possess the animatronics to tell them, hey, this guy's a liar. He killed all of you. Do what you gotta do. So the animatronics now truly understanding what happened to them, they go after William. And they set off the spring locks. They set off the spring lock suit he was wearing, and we get the fucking spring lock scene. I didn't think we were gonna get that. When I heard of this movie, I didn't think, it's probably just gonna be a standard story of the Five Nights and Mike gets away after the 5th one, whatever. I didn't think we were going to get this deep into the lore in the first movie, but again, this is sort of a retelling of the game's story, or what story it had, because it wasn't supposed to be a big story. So yeah. So William, now being spring-locked, suited, by being trapped in the spring-lock suit, and slowly kind of dying, he gets thrown into the back of the location while it's falling apart, because it suddenly starts falling apart, because apparently the ghosts were holding it together. Vanessa, Mike, and Abby get out, and so the animatronics stay in the location with William to make sure he stays in there and never goes out, never leaves. So everything's fine. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Vanessa almost dies, or probably will die by the next movie. She gets stabbed by William, and she's out. She's done. So Mike, Abby, and Vanessa, they get out. They're safe. Their lives are looking better because Golden Freddy actually kills the aunt while trying to get Vanessa to go back to the location. So no more antagonists. They're all gone. They're all disposed of. And now Abby and Mike are living their happiest life, which I thought was weird. Because, like, the main thing, even though there wasn't really a story in the games, their endings were still depressing. They were kind of sad and melancholic. That's also my, only really, that's my only complaint of the movie. Is that it ends too happy. It feels a bit generic, and it's sort of, basically from the climax to the end, it's a bit generic. I wish there were some FNAF-isms in them, where it would be a bit melancholic. Like Vanessa could have died, because she served her purpose for what little that purpose was exposition and sort of foreshadowing of William towards the end. But that's sort of my only complaint, is that the ending's too happy for me. I wish it was a bit more depressing. So yeah, that is the FNAF movie. And like I said earlier, it's a masterpiece of a movie for what it went through. It went through hell basically for 10 years, and now it's out, and it's good. It's pretty good. It's surprisingly good for what it went through, and I cannot recommend it more, especially if you like FNAF. Go watch. I'm pretty sure all FNAF fans watched it, but watched it already. But whatever. So yeah. That's it. I have really nothing else to say. Look forward to my next video, because I'm going to be covering the SH3R. It's Luffy from the... I don't remember the exact name. It is a raid on Okishima, I think. Basically him towards the end of Wano. So yeah, I'll be covering him. Hopefully I'll be halfway through Dressrosa, because I just stopped watching it right before they got into Dressrosa. So I'm almost done. I'm almost done getting caught up on One Piece. Hopefully in another 3 months I'll be done. So I'll start covering One Piece then. I won't do a whole video on it, or else it'll be 3 hours. I'm going to do it arc by arc. So yeah, I'll get to that eventually. But besides that, I have nothing else to say. Thank you all so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Check out the description for all the usual YouTube stuff. And like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye!